How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age. And this is another Lost Heroes of the...
Who in the world is Marvin the Great?
You could have let me finish with the intro before interrupting me.
What was your thought process on reviewing him?
I honestly have no idea. I wasn't even planning on reviewing him at first.
How did you even find this one?
Because I was screwing around in the comic book section, and I accidentally found this guy. This is weird. When I cover him, he actually had 2 appearances, but the page, I found a fan page made to him. They say they only have 1 appearance, and I can understand if I wasn't screwing around in the small publication section, I would have totally missed this guy. He actually has 2 appearances. Now, I don't know which one is first because they both came out in the same year. Now, when I cover the second appearance, I say I have no idea what publication he appeared in. This is going to be Marvin the Great, and I believe that both appearances is from Spark Publication, because even though I couldn't find any information with his appearance in Comic Land, I looked at the covers of both comics. And both of the comics, they say, I think it's FDC, and they actually appear in the same way. And I actually found some characters that appear in the Adaman comics also in the Comic Land title, even though I couldn't find any other information on them. So I'm assuming that both of these are Spark Publications, but since Comic Land only was a 1-shot, it didn't get put under Spark, so it got put in the small publications category, and nobody knew about it. That's why in the fan page for Marvin the Great, it said that it says in a paragraph, he has 1 singular appearance. He doesn't. He has 2 appearances. One of his appearances is more of an action one, and the other one is played for laughs. It's Comic Land. All the stories were supposed to be played for laughs, or what would be considered laugh in the 1940s. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And like I said, I believe both of these are Spark Publication. Came out in the same year. I don't know which one is first. So let's go ahead and do this.
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
So you're allowed to say it fully, but I get interrupted.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's go over this completely ridiculous hero, Marvin the Great. Marvin the Great. Marvin the Great had an appearance in Adaman number 1 in 1946. The publication is Spark Publication. Marvin the Great. Once upon a time, there was a peaceful little man named Marvin Smith. Then one day he wished he had the strength of Mars, the god of war. No sooner had he wished than Mars showed up and granted him the power that would turn Marvin Smith into that scintillating scourge of scoundrels, Marvin the Great. And today, Marvin the Great flashes through the sky and matches his strength against the bullets of the criminal gang and to solve the mystery of the missing millionaires. Is that all it takes? All you need to do is wish for the power of the gods and one will come down and give it to you? Well, in that case, Jesus, I wish for the power of Zeus. Okay. And we cut over here and we see a husband and wife. And another thing, Marvin Smith, if you weren't later, Malvina, I feel a headache coming on. I'd better lie down for a few minutes. Okay. He goes into the other room, slams the door shut, and he takes a book off of the shelf. He says the magic word Mars, the magic name of the god of war, invokes flame and smoke, transforming ordinary Marvin Smith into the extraordinary Marvin the Great. Now, there is no other reason for him to become Marvin the Great than the fact that he wants to be a superhero and go out there and do something. Okay, so he says the name of Mars, gets dressed up like a Roman centurion, and he can fly. And from what I read, he also has super strength. So he flies around and he sees the weirdest headline in a news article: 5 millionaires kidnapped in 5 days. That's weird. Okay, so he wants to go rescue the millionaires that he kidnapped, but he has absolutely no leads. But he says, let's see, but where will I start? I have it. Mr. Goldblix, the man I work for, is a millionaire, and they may well try to kidnap him. I'll watch his house. Now, we see him above this magnificent mansion. I mean, I hope that the more than just this guy lives here. That's way too impractically big for one person. So as he's leaving, good day, Jarvis, he gets to his car, and I don't know if he's being chauffeured or, oh, no, he's walking, and this car pulls up and grabs him. Okay. He's a millionaire. Why would he be going for a walk? Oh, meanwhile, Goldbucks is taking his nightly walk. But, okay. So they pull up beside him and they kidnap him and they start to drive away. This is my chance to find out where these desperate criminals are concealing the millionaires. Using a lot of big words. So he follows them to this, what appears to be a deserted house or a shack along a dirt road. Good work, boys. Now you've still got to get Okay, let's try this again. Good work, boys. Now you've still got to get Van Schutz, Goldricks, Mondro, the old man, Giltreeds. That'll give us a collection of 15 millionaires. So they're kidnapping millionaires so they can turn the wealth over to them. Just then, I guess Marvin puts the visor down, breaks in, and starts bashing and beating up all the criminals. Let's see. Slams this guy, bushes this other guy, and it's really amazing how I picked up the art of fisticuffs. And one of the criminals says, "You call this fisticuffs, but it's just plain murder." He didn't kill any of them, he just knocked them out. Okay, so he rescues the millionaires, and it's just like, can we give you an award? And he's like, "I just have one favor to ask." And his boss says, "What's your favor, young man? We'll be glad to grant you any favor within reason, of course." Well, I like how you put a condition on that. Usually these people try to make a blank check, but he made this conditional. And he says, "A friend of mine works for you, Mr. Goldbuck. His name is Marvin Smith. I'd like to see him get a promotion and a raise." He's like, "That's all? Yeah, we'll do that." So Marvin comes back, and apparently his wife is calling for him. Replacing the book changes Marvin the Great back to plain Marvin Smith. "Marvin Smith, you answer me this minute." He puts the book up, and he goes to see his wife. And I'll read the last 2 pages. "Yes, my dear. Mr. Goldbuck called to tell you that you've been promoted to assistant manager." And he says, "Oh, yes, I imagine he's come to recognize my sterling qualities, my dear." Stuff and nonsense. He probably made a mistake. I just hope he doesn't realize how helpless you really are. And the next day he files for divorce. You can't be married to that kind of energy. Marvin the Great, Marvin Smith, appears in Comicland #1 in 1946. I could not find a publisher. I searched all around for it. Meek little Marvin Smith, browbeaten by his wife Malvina, used to dream of himself as possessed of the power of Mars, god of war. And one day, who turns up but Mars in person and hands Marvin exactly what he's dreamed for, the titanic strength of the mightiest of gods. So meek Marvin turns on the powers every now and then and becomes mighty, magnificent Marvin the Great, a hero's hero, except when he tries to commit too many good deeds. God of War is not the mightiest of the gods. Okay. We see him just sitting here on the street corner. This is just a splash page. The trouble is, nothing exciting ever happens to me. Okay. Now we see Marvin Smith and his wife walking down, and she sees this god-awful hat that she calls beautiful. And it's only $50. Now, $50 in 1946 was quite a bit of money. Now, adjusting for inflation, that is the equivalent of $764 today. I wouldn't pay $2 for that hat, let alone $700. That is not even worth $50. I'm buying that hat, and if you don't like it, you can go home. Yes, dear, I'll go home. So he leaves her, and he decides that he wants to become the god of war. I guess since she's spending all of his money, I ain't saying she's a gold digger, he wants to just, I guess, relieve some stress, tension, whatever. Okay, so he says the magic word Mars and turns into Marvin the Great. Yes, so as he's flying, he hears this lady yell for help. He stops the crook and returns this necklace. And we find out that she is just an actor and they're filming a scene and he just interrupted the scene. The director and the actress pretty much run him off set. He flies off into the air. Next we see that he sees a truck about to run into a baby carriage, and using his incredible speed, he swoops in and he saves the baby carriage, only to find out that this is an empty baby carriage and this guy is testing an experiment. It is a shock-proof baby carriage. I mean, I can't fault the fact that this guy is trying to do an experiment, but there's so many better ways that he could have done this. I mean, he could have had people there, product testers, safety in place, but no, he's just running at full speed to hit a baby carriage because he wants to see how much punishment he can take. So he realizes he goofed again, and he's feeling dejected, starts to take off down the street, and he sees these people running from a lion. And as he's getting ready to run from the lion, he goes, wait a minute, I'm a superhero. So he turns around and he grabs the lion by the throat, and he goes, yeah, you're choking me. My gosh, he speaks English. And then this guy comes out of the lion's head, and after he gives a little bit of exposition, he says that he's advertising for the circus. That is the stupidest form of advertising. You're running down the street dressed in a lion costume, roaring at people. At what point? I mean, you don't even have a sign for the circus on you. From all intents and purposes, you look like a lion. This was the stupidest way to advertise for the circus. In fact, it's going to get you arrested for causing a public disturbance. Anyways, he realizes that he is goofed yet again, and let's see, that settles it. I'm through with this hero stuff for good. It boomerangs too much, so he sits down and starts reading a comic book. And then this delivery truck with, let's see, I'm glad you came along with deliveries I'm glad you came along while I make my deliveries. I've got a lot of expensive fur coats in the truck. You don't have to worry about a thing while I'm here. Yeah, and then the truck gets hijacked. So, this guy's even got a gun. You see him in a gun. Okay, so these two guys rob the truck with Tommy guns. And they speed off down the street shooting at them. And Marvin looks up and goes, what's this? Probably the police department practicing. I'm not interfering this time. And then this guy, who I'm guessing is a security guard, but he's got a gun. Okay, that truck has been stolen by a couple of thugs. Why didn't you try to stop them? He just asks a random guy on the street why he didn't try to stop them. Does he know who Marvin is? Anyways, Marvin didn't want to interfere because he thought it was not real. They shoot and a hole goes through his comic book. Hey, my comic book. Nobody can do that to me. They're still shooting. This time I think I'll run into run into an honest to good adventure. Hop up and away after the crooks. Oh my God! No wonder you only have 2 appearances. Okay, so he gets in front of the truck and he turns it in the other direction so they're speeding back into town. He leaps on top of the truck. They don't know what's going on, and they realize that the cops are now coming at them, so they get out of the truck and run. Mighty Marvin swoops up from the front, with his visor down, of course, and smashes their 2 heads together, and... Did he kill them? I mean, look at the way that their heads get so contorted in this drawing image. I think he killed them. And in the very next scene, you see him dragging them. He's dragging 2 dead bodies. You caught them. My, you're observant. Here are your... Well, that was arrogant. My, you're observant. Here are your thugs, and here is your truck. And I'm glad this is a real adventure. So he goes back to the house and changes back. I think I hear Marvina coming. She pops into the house. Oh, here you are, Marvin. My hat just arrived. What do you think of it? Must I answer that? God, you're conceited. And guess what? I almost didn't get the hat because the delivery truck has held up. That wonderful Marvin the Great caught the crooks and returned the truck. Why? What's the matter, dear? Nothing, my dear, nothing. I always mess things up. So he says that in rescuing the truck, she gets her hat, and he messed up letting her get the hat. God, you're conceited. Besides, you just spent all that money in the hat. You really want that money to come up with nothing? I mean, the hat is ridiculous, but someone's played for comedy. I hope you liked this story. I hope that you enjoyed what it was. This actually shows what happens, because this research that I did happened after I shot the video, because I really wanted to know what publication it was. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you have any requests, you send them in. I love doing requests. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.